Hi, and welcome to Bookly Fun. If you are new, welcome, and if you're returning, well, thank you for the support. Today we are going to be discussing my 26 books that I want to read in 2026. Now, I did do this last year with 25 to read in 2025. Didn't do so hot on that one. However, I'm hoping to do better on this one because these books are a part of challenges and or series that I want to kind of get a rein on this year, so hopefully I make it all the way through. So we're gonna go shelf by shelf, and we'll talk about the books that I want to read. So starting with my bottom shelf, there's actually only one book or one series per se, and that is Harry Potter. I have read this tons and tons of times, but I just want to reread it again, kind of like for nostalgia. So then on to my fourth shelf. I have these other four shelves. I have tons of books that pertain to the prompt, which is 20 books that I want to read in 2026. So the first book we have is Supernatural: War of the Suns by Rebecca Desertine and David Reed. So Rebecca Desertine was actually one of the show writers, so I read one of the books she read previously. I think it was 1 Year Gone or something like that. I didn't necessarily enjoy it, but I am willing to give her another shot. So then we have Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. This book and I actually have some history because I was in high school, or not high school, oh my god, middle school during the whole Simon Snow series, whatever, and Rainbow Rowell was very popular. So I checked this book out at my middle school's library. Didn't get that much into it, didn't really enjoy it. However, I am willing to give this another shot. So then we have Court of the Vampire Queen by Katee Robert. This book, I have read a few of Katee Robert's other books. And the ones that I've read, I enjoyed. However, this has all of what I want. It has vampires, it has white shoes, it has all of that, and it's romance. So hopefully I can get into this in 2026. And actually, this is the bind up of the trilogy that this book is. The trilogy is called Bloodline Vampires if you just want to read the books individually. So then we have The Start of a Duology, which is The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith. Ever since I got a hold of this book, I have always wanted to read it. I try, and because here's the thing, I'm the type of reader who reads in like chunks, if there are any. So like this has parts, so like part 2 and it's the 4 years of high school, so there's 4 parts of this. And I'm gonna say this for a lot of these books, hopefully this is the year where I conquer them. Conquer the books I've been putting off. So then we have a new-ish addition to my collection, and that is Don't Sleep with the Dead by Nevo. This is the companion novella to her other book, The Chosen and the Beautiful, which I listened to the audiobook in an entire day because I thought if I read this book or read The Chosen and the Beautiful last year, that I would then read this like January 1st or whatever. It is January 19th and I have not read this, hence it being on this list. So what this quote-unquote series is it's a queer retelling of The Great Gatsby. And I really liked The Chosen and the Beautiful. I think I gave it like 4 stars. Like 4 stars or so. And this is, when you say novella, this means novella. There's literally like 100 pages in this. So, however, if you do want to read this, you do have to read The Chosen and the Beautiful first to kind of understand the world. The Chosen and the Beautiful followed Jordan, and this follows Nick. But it actually says here on the blurb, or I think when you like look it up, it says that you have to read this first to understand, to get a better understanding of the world. So then finally for this shelf I have another supernatural book. However, this time it's Carved in Flesh by Tim Wagner. This one I've read before, and this is actually not my original copy of it. I lost it when I was reading this the first time and got a new copy of it. So this one I really like. I think out of all the ones I still have, this is the one that I enjoyed the most. So highly recommend. Obviously you don't have to read the supernatural books in order to understand the story like you have to the TV show. So then moving on to the third shelf, I have The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. Now, I have read Freida McFadden and I enjoyed it. The last Freida McFadden I read was Never Lie, and I gave that 5 stars. So I really enjoyed this. I've been meaning to start this series, and hopefully I fulfill what this is a part of and read it and finally get to it. Then I have Confessions of a Murder Suspect by James Patterson and Maxine Petro. This is the start of the series, and I enjoy James Patterson. His stories are quick. Like, you can probably devour this in a day. I actually have another one of his books in this lineup, so his books typically look like the other one I have. I've only read technically 2 others that look like a full novel. So this one, it has a interesting premise. Like, it's a family and obviously there's a murder. But like they go and it's like, oh, is this person the murderer? Is this person or a murderer, I should say. So then, and if my friend watches this, I can probably hear him screaming at the screen. I have Eragon. Now, Eragon and I have had a difficult past. I have tried to read this before multiple times. And I just have not vibed with it. Hopefully this year changes that and I finally get through the series, especially because my friend is holding the last book and novella hostage until I read the 4 books that he gave me. So, and then, are we surprised at this point? I have another Supernatural book. This time it is Rite of Passage by John Passarelli. This is another one that I've tried to read a whole lot, and like I've tried to read it time again, and hopefully this year it sticks, because I kind of need it to progress on my series tracker. I'm also trying to finish or to read the Supernatural books I already have before I get the ones that are out but I do not have. So, and then we have my second largest stack of books, I want to say, and I'm starting that stack off with Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Gladden. I'm starting the shelf out with Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow. There we go. I have this, like, something I forgot to mention with The Way I Used to Be is that it focuses on mental health of the main character. And so does this one, actually. And this year, I feel like for some whatever reason, is going to be a very heavy mental health year for me. So I want to read both The Way I Used to Be and Girl in Pieces this year to kind of like congratulate myself for getting through this year. So then I have Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I actually, this is the edition with the sprayed edges, and I saw how cool the sprayed edges were, and I was like, I want the one with the sprayed edges. I want a physical copy, and I want a copy with the sprayed edges. And so I had to hunt down for this one, but I finally have it. The funny thing is that I'm honestly probably just gonna get this from the library or something to read on my Kindle, because I don't want to damage my sprayed edges. So, but I got to like page 100 or so the last time I read this, and yeah, I've read Ali. Don't know why Ali is so hard for me to pronounce tonight, but it is. I've read Ali Hazelwood before, and I really like her books. So then, and people are probably not going to be happy about this, but whatever. I do not care. I have the Maybe series by Colleen Hoover. can we call this a series? I'm gonna call it a duology, even though it does have a novella in there, but whatever. I like so many of these books. I have tried to read this before, and I have failed. So I'm also with all of these books, I'm trying to read them and then get them off of my shelves, because except for I think 3 of these books, I have had these books on my shelves for what's felt like forever. So I want to make room for new books. Then I have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I have read this series before. It's just been so many years, or it hasn't been so many. It's been a couple of years, and I just want to read them again. Do I really need an explanation for that? I don't think so, but whatever. Then I have a classic horror novel, The Shining by Stephen King. Why did I have... Oh my... Anyway, this one I've actually had for a few years. Same with Doctor Sleep, the sequel to this. And I just want to get to it. I want to read it, actually. And, yeah. Then, this is actually another newish addition to my bookshelves, but I have Road Trip of the Vampire by Jenna Levine. This is the last book in the My Vampires series. I read My Roommate is a Vampire, which is the first book, and gave that 5 stars. Phenomenal. Chef's kiss. Spectacular. Give me 14 more. And then I read, what was it? My Vampire Plus One. I think you can tell how much I enjoyed that one. I liked it. I gave it, I think, a 4-star. So this one I feel like is gonna be more interesting, because we've gotten a lot of the female character throughout the 2 books. Mainly My Vampire Plus One, but we've gotten sprinklings of her. So, and I'm interested to learn more about her. So, then, probably my biggest stack, we have my first shelf. So, we have Caught Up by Nevessa Allen. This one, Game On, which is the 3rd book in the series, is coming out at the end of March. Am I going to be able to get my hands on it as soon as it comes out? No. But I do want to read Caught Up before Game On comes out, which is March 31st. So I have until the end of March to read this. But yeah, so then I have Pearly Everlasting by Tammy Armstrong. Obviously, I think you can kind of tell it's a bit like Tuck Everlasting, but not. This is historical fiction, so I've actually been getting really good at reading the synopsis of books that I pick up to see if I'm going to be interested in them. And when I picked this up, I really liked the plot, so hopefully I enjoyed the book. And then the one that I just mentioned, the aforementioned book, I have Tuck Everlasting by Natalie Babbitt. This is actually on my January TBR, so hopefully I can get to it in the next however many days until the end of January. So, yeah. This is going to be a last read and then unhaul because, yeah. Hopefully I can read it in a day, though. Same with Don't Sleep with Death. So, both in one day. That's actually probably too ambitious. And then I have Flesh and Blood by Patricia Cornwell. I have tried to read this and I've just failed. So hopefully, I kind of need it for a challenge. So it's me against this. So then I have another Supernatural book. Actually, the next two are Supernatural books. This one and the next one. So this one is Heart of the Dragon by Keith R.A. DiCanito. And funny enough, the next one is also by Keith R.A. DiCanito. I really like his writing, actually. I originally had 3 books by him. And then I read the third one in the series. Or actually, not the third. Yes, the third one. The third one in the series, in the book series, last year, and then unhauled it. Just because I've read it so many times. Like, it's probably my favorite out of all of them. So that one is Bone Key. I had just read it so many times that I kind of could memorize the book, actually, if I tried. But anyway, this is Heart of the Dragon. This one takes place over 3 generations of hunters by both the Winchester family and the Campbell family. So, kind of cool. Then I have Nevermore, also by Keith R. DiCanito, as I said. This is actually the very first book in the series. And along with I think I've read Bone Key more than I've read Nevermore. But, yeah. So, last reread. Then, I have the other James Patterson I mentioned, Invisible. This is actually the start of a duology, and really short chapters, so hopefully I get through this quick enough. And, yeah. Okay, after this one, I finally shut up about Supernatural books. Well, until next year. But I finally shut up about them for this year. And that is... Well, actually, except for my monthly wrap-up. Whatever. In this video, I finally shut up about them after this. And it is Coyote's Kiss by Krista Frost. So this one is also another one that I've tried to read. Maybe I should tandem read Rite of Passage and Coyote's Kiss, because I've had the same level of difficulty with both of those. So... Then, and the final book is Follow Me Back by A.V. Geiger. So, this one I've read before. I've read this like twice, actually. I really liked it. This is going to be my final reread before I read the sequel, which I have. And, yeah, so that is my... that is my grand total of the 26 books I want to read, 26 books or series that I would like to read in 2026. Thank you for sticking around this long if you have. And don't forget to subscribe, comment, and or like. And with that, have a wonderful evening, day, or wherever you are in the world.